Okay, folks, welcome back to Sunset Falls. We have a lot of work to do, and I think we're going to have to break this up into a few different episodes to really tackle everything properly. But I think today what we want to do is cover some transportation issues that we've been putting off for a little bit and start to sketch out the main source of our kind of infrastructure for this smaller island over here. So there's going to be a lot going on this island, right? We've kind of noticed that there's this industrial port area here, or rather this port area that I think will work for our industrial port. So I like this a lot here. I think we can use this effectively. We also have a lot of this area over here that you can kind of see was originally marked off as an airport. I actually don't think that we want to do that. I think we're going to take our airport potentially out this way, and I'd like to use this to really put a lot of our larger industrial space. You'll notice kind of if you hop into any of this industrial space, right? You have a few of these specific plants that turn raw materials from your industry space into something else, right? It's a manufactured good, but you have a lot of these custom factories that all use different manufactured goods. And so I'd like to put all of these factories, these unique factories, in this space. I think what I believe that will help us do is get all of our goods, our manufactured goods, directly towards the access points where they will be going out of the city, right? They'll be directly near our industrial port. They'll be directly near our airport with our cargo hub that will be over here. And the other nice thing about this too is that we're not making every single thing in our city, right? I have no intention of building out the oil industry. We may not want to do all of the different farming components. So if we want to bring in goods to our city, we'll be able to quickly import goods here and bring them over to our more advanced manufacturing hubs here. So to do that, I think we need to make sure that we have a strong infrastructure to actually get our kind of semi-produced goods. So for instance, our goods up here, right? Up here, we are in fact turning our ore into metals. I think we have some glass too here somewhere. I want to say this thing. Yeah, there we go. We're turning some ore into glass. And we want to make sure that we can get those goods. So we have our ore products here down to our hub, or our little industrial area here, right? So we need first thing is good railway infrastructure to get all of those things down here. Secondly, we're going to need some really good highway infrastructure in this area to handle what I'm presuming is going to be a huge influx of traffic, because we have this one highway that's coming directly from kind of the mainland over here across this island. And right now, this is highways assuming that we're going to want the vast majority of our traffic that's kind of on island level. I actually don't believe that's the case. I think what we're going to want to do is actually redo this whole bridge system and have part of the bridge come down here and directly use that part of the bridge only for industrial traffic. Bring that part of the bridge down and bring that to the ground level so we can have all of our industrial traffic come through here into our industrial hub or come over to the port and drop things off. I think we take a second lane through here, have that be all passenger traffic, and have that lane cut directly across to the airport. So if you're a citizen over here in the Washington district or any of these spaces, you can just come directly through here, bypass any of the industrial traffic, and get straight out to the airport. And then we can use more localized roads to get cargo from the industrial space or from the port over to the airport instead. So that's going to require a lot of highway work here to make sure all of this is well optimized. Then finally, what I think we actually want to do is start laying out the basic infrastructure bones for our industrial hub. Now, I don't know how big a lot of these factories are, but just from looking at the few that we have, they're pretty freaking big. If I just plot this down, you can kind of see this is a beefy boy here. So we want to make sure that we have enough space. But the other thing that we want to do, I think, is make sure that we can really optimize how traffic flows through this space, right? So that's something I think that for me has always been really challenging in the base game, is making sure that our highways, our cargo spaces are moving their trucks in and out of the cargo space efficiently. And I think a lot of people, myself included, tend to default to just the loop idea, right? That works really well in cargo ports, right? Where you can just one-way loop everything through, and you don't have to worry about trucks fighting as much. Now, I may end up giving up, throwing my hands in the air, and then just doing a loop here, but I'd like to try something a little bit different, especially now that we can set where our spawn and despawn points are. So we'll see if maybe we can have basically everyone spawn in the front, despawn out the back, and kind of elevate that a little bit, right? But first things first, I think we're going to want to clear a lot of things out. So I think the way that we can break down today is potentially start with bringing our train network along. Actually, no, I take that back. Let's do the trains last. Let's work from the endpoint. Let's start carving out what we think our cargo hub is going to look like here, and then set up our stations, and then potentially start moving into highways, and then connect the train network up last. I actually think it's going to be easier if we know what this looks like a little bit more, and then we can figure out how are we going to get these transition points into the city. So what I'm going to do, the game's just going to be paused for most of this, if I'm being totally honest with you, because what I think we'd like to do is actually back up to about here and then just start destroying things. I feel badly for this. I like the name Hancock Bridge. I'm a fan. But we are going to remove large portions of Hancock Bridge. We're going to put a totally different bridge system in place. Now, unfortunately for this new bridge system, I swear I have tried to get this bridge to work so many times. And it's just been really challenging for me. So I may actually end up doing the bridge entirely off camera, and then we can just kind of go through what worked and what didn't. I want to pull, there we go. I want to kind of leave the rocks in place. I like the rocks actually. But we're going to delete all this. Oh, didn't mean to delete the rail line. That's the one thing I wanted to keep. Okay, so let's actually do this in 2 pieces here. But yeah, I've really struggled with this bridge work. So you may see my struggles and we can all laugh at them and have a great time. Or I may just try to get it to work off camera. And then once I figure out how to do it, we can talk a little bit more about how we made that work. But I have tried it several times and been pretty embarrassed, healthily embarrassed each time. So we'll see how it goes. All right, and I'm assuming we're gonna walk that rail back a little bit, but I'm just gonna leave it there for the second. Oh, whoops, this is a different, I'm just grabbing all sorts of different tools here. And let's get rid of, can I get rid of these little rocks? Or am I gonna have to maybe go back here? I don't know if these are considered props or decals. I think props, maybe? No, I don't know, whatever. We'll get rid of them on a case-by-case basis, right? Okay. But now we have a little bit more open space here. Are these like farm animals? Oh, these are the cars. Well, you may be there for wild cars. I hate to break it to you. I don't know why I thought farm animals was more likely than cars. No farms down here. All right, so the first thing we're gonna wanna do, I think, is probably expand most of this key out here. It's gonna be a little bit rough along this edge, but I think that's okay. What I'd like to do is kind of bring this, fill this in up, square this off here, and then figure out the best way to kind of keep this general shape, because you'll notice the shape is coming from the river and the bay here, and I kind of want to keep the shape as much as possible, but also recognize that that's not optimal for putting in some of these big buildings. So I don't know if we can potentially do something fun along the river. Well, not fun per se, but maybe like a little bit of retail over here for workers who are going to be coming into this space. We do need some sort of actual civilian transport in here, so we could potentially have a metro station over here. But at least for the immediate moment, I think we just kind of want to square this off a little bit and then put up our key wall. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to grab this. Let's move out our brush size a little bit more. And then I think just kind of grab this level here and then just kind of start filling in right along here. And we may actually need to bring this down a little bit. That may be the case. I'm not 100% sure. And we'll actually go up even just a little bit further here. Try to kind of catch this line up here. There we go. Okay. And I'll actually, no, I think it's okay to leave that. I think it's okay. So I kind of leave that there. All right. So let's go over to our key walls here. I know we have a bunch of new interesting key walls. Actually here. All right. Let's give it the old college try. Where are our new key walls? I'm not going to remember in the slightest. I think they're like here. No, somewhere in, there we go. Okay. So these seawalls are all kind of more like civilian seawalls, you know, simple city key. Does this really fit? No, it doesn't. I'm sorry. Let's just go back to the boring one. I know I hate to do it, but I think it's the right call here. Let's kind of go back as much as we can. What is this going to look like if we try to kind of run along, square it up there, and then we'll obviously have to pull back a lot of what we have here, kind of round that corner a little bit too. So let's go out that way. Kind of just get a nice little, or not, this case may be. There we go. Kind of corner there. And let's see, maybe we can kind of, I try to get a little bit as flat as possible for a lot of these to acknowledge that I believe, like, for the most part, it's probably easier to work with flatter surfaces when you're working with these industrial spaces. So we're going to leave the lighthouse there for the second. I'm hoping to actually kind of retain the lighthouse. We'll see how a lot of this goes. But for a lot of this, we are not going to be retaining. Oh, oops, didn't want to do that. We're not going to be retaining most of this. So I'm actually going to get a little bit more aggressive with my key walls too. And we're going to come all the way up here, I think. There we go. Is there a way that we could get that all in a straight line? Because I don't really love, yeah. All right, let's expand that out a little bit more. We're also, I mean, if we're being honest, we're probably gonna go back and change most of this anyways when we actually bring our larger airport through here. So maybe we just don't worry about it for now. Maybe we'll just go about that far and then just kind of tuck this in a little bit. There we go. Tuck it in. Okay. All right, so we got a good start here. Let's just fill in that space right there. Okay, and now we can kind of go through, trim this up a little bit. Let's turn our brush size down just a little bit. There we go. Kind of trim the edges here. And we could actually also even just grab this rock, copy this a little bit more into here, kind of make more natural endpoint. There we go. Again, I don't think it's really going to matter that much because we're probably going to end up going through and changing a lot of that anyways, but it's nice to know we have it as an option. Oh, I did want to call out while we're here, I have a new dynamic UI mod here, or dynamic resolution UI mod, so thank you to the commenter who pointed that out. This is from the same fantastic creator who has come up with our node controller options, who's come up with the highway marking tool as well. Oh, there we go. Our unified UI is running all over the place. Can I not move this? I have to click this thing to be able to move them. There's a way that I can move it. There we go. Okay, put it back there. Yeah, so the guy who came up with intersection marking tool and node controller and the building input output despawn spawn point, building spawn point, got there eventually. In building spawn point, he has this dynamic resolution, which is absolutely fantastic. So anyone who's playing with a larger screen or higher resolution, I highly recommend you check it out. I did have to play around a little bit with some of these settings. So if you go into your options, I am using resize it, and you can kind of just adjust resize it to center on your control panel. You may have already done this, or sorry, center on these little guys, but that made sure that it didn't hide all of my rotor controls on here. So just an important thing to keep in mind. Okay, so looks like we're mostly squared off. I'm just going to start the game a tiny bit. All right, I don't see anything hugely destructive happening quite yet, but there's still time. That's an interesting little pop-in game that we play here. Can I just get rid of most of this? I can, and I will. Okay, so let's, also actually get rid of these rocks as well. And I wish that I had my surface controller, but I will, or surface painter, but that's okay. We'll come in here a little bit later and we'll just paint the whole surface because we don't need any of this stuff. Get rid of all this. I'm actually going to get rid of this entire rock formation here for the most part. Okay, so let's think about kind of how we want these things to go. And this is going to be a little bit challenging because we don't have the actual cargo hub unlocked yet, right? So what we are going to do is actually grab this cargo harbor. I think we want to use the cargo hub because we can have the trains go through, and we're just going to plaster cargo hubs all the way over here. I'm going to throw up a quick reference photo right now. So this reference photo is what I'd like to emulate. This is a harbor in Shenzhen, China, and I really enjoyed kind of the look of the harbor. It definitely feels very busy, very alive, and I think it's something that we could very reasonably emulate kind of right on this main pier here. The question is then, what do we do with these other piers? I definitely think there's still something to be done with this pier as well. And then finally, I thought this could be more of kind of our civilian pier. I'd like to actually move our ferry depot. Multiple problems, trash and crime. That's not a good combo. I'd actually like to move that over here, I think. Let's pull this train back just a little bit, actually, here. Or actually here, we'll just put it on the edge of the island. I mean, it's rough stuff over there anyways, so I'm not super worried about them. But what's really nice about this change is it'll actually make it way easier for those ferries to get where they need to go. Because you'll notice that, and maybe some of you were kicking me when I did this, but when we put that over here, they have to go all the way around this island to get where they need to go. This should make their life significantly easier. So anyone who operates ferries in this area, you are welcome. Okay, so what was I saying earlier? All right, so we don't have our surface painter here yet. That definitely is something that we will want to do and just kind of add some concrete across this whole space. Ooh, we have a little bit of land that we need to flatten out here too. Oh my, what did we just do? Okay, there we go. Kind of trim that up. Perfect. Okay, and we'll have to come up with a nicer little ending point for these because these obviously look super ugly, but that's okay. So in terms of our hubs, we have unlocked all of our hubs at this point. We have a few different options. We have this kind of nice crossover train hub here. Actually here, let me just throw a little bit of road down here so we can take a look at these different options, right? I think something that's been a little frustrating for me, to be honest with you, is there doesn't seem to be an abundance of train hubs that look like they're designed for cargo space. So if you take a look at this train hub, it's super cool, right? I just want to immediately make clear that I love all of the work from these content creators. This is a very, very cool train hub. I love that it has the kind of angle here. I never would have thought to do this. It's really neat. But this is also clearly a passenger train hub, right? This was designed for passengers. It looks really nice in there, not designed for cargo, right? So if we look at maybe some of our other options, the old market station that we know we're going to use a little bit later, right? So this looks fantastic as well. Has all the trains coming through. I think there might even be metro underneath that. Am I totally crazy here? Do we have some metro options? Okay, we don't. But that's okay. Let me get my little metro guy out of the way. Okay, so that's definitely like an option, but knowing that we are going to use it over here, I think we kind of want to steer away from that. Look at some of our different options. This one is a really nice endpoint, right? Has a ton of different tracks, looks great, but also super modern. Trying to imagine that in like a heavily industrialized area, that could be a little bit challenging as well. And so that's definitely kind of on my radar, but I don't think maybe the best option. Metro Plaza, obviously we're gonna end up using that. And then it goes straight into metro options, I think, right? Are any of these train options? None of those are. That's also metro. So here's a ground bypass train station. This one is honestly pretty nice. I think we could definitely see this as maybe our kind of passenger hub over here, right? To bring non-commercial traffic onto the island. Ground dual platform train station also looks really nice. Might actually be a little bit better because you could send the cargo through this bypass if you wanted to. But actually, I think it said the last one also has a bypass, so never mind, I take that back. And then we have the 3 elevated options. So I'm looking at these. If you have a staunch favorite, please let me know. But I didn't see any of these that I thought was going to be kind of really perfect for what we are going for here. So I think that maybe just kind of like where we're at now, we want to go back to more of the generic train stations and see what our options are here. And it would help. No, I do have train selected. I thought these were all metros for a second. So we have a bunch of different options here, right? I always love the sunken trains. We have a bunch of elevated trains as well. So we got trains under, we got trains over, we got trains around on this ground single island station. That's actually really cool looking. I like that a lot. Oh, and this does have a metro option as well. So there's some neat hybrids here, it looks like. But ultimately, what I think makes the most sense for us is just something really basic. You know, we have, if you want to look at kind of a few of the options we have, this is the freight terminal asset that I really enjoy. It looks very appropriate. And then this is the cargo train terminal asset. So we got a few different options, but I think honestly, this freight terminal seems to me to be the way to go. We could put a few of them in, maybe back to back too, which I think could be kind of cool. But ultimately, I think the idea is going to be we want our cargo rail terminal to kind of wrap along around here and kind of around through there and then potentially out here. So I think what we want to do is potentially see the trains, and actually let's see if we can view where the train line goes through underneath. This train line actually wraps all the way around here. I don't know if we need it to do that. I actually think it could be kind of cool to have it surface up here and then go kind of around the edge if we want to, and then also have a break off path that comes through here. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I do think that we want to pull a line up here and potentially have cargo drop off right here as just part of the island. The other thing that I think we should think about too is how we're actually going to have, I don't know what these little white patches are. Oh, that's water. That's what that is. Maybe we should just run this a little bit just to get that water to kind of flatten out. But the other thing we have to think about is how we're actually going to have transit work here. So the other big thing that we have to take care of is how we actually want to have cargo traffic come through here too. So that's something I want to keep in mind. What I'd like to try is to have kind of this one big roundabout in the middle that will kind of bow tie with the port traffic over here and the industrial traffic over here. So I'm thinking we might actually kind of want to pull that back. And maybe let's just kind of experiment a little bit. Well, first of all, here, let's delete this. Get that out of the way. I'm actually going to, we'll leave those for now. Pull this out, just so we have enough space. We can get rid of that too. I'm thinking if we kind of just did a basic medium industry road, and we wanted to set up, I think we're probably going to want to do at least 100. This is going to be a pretty big interchange here. Maybe 120. Set up something kind of like right here. That would give us some options. I don't know why. I see it's because I didn't upgrade it properly. There we go. Always a learning process. Okay, and we actually are only going to want a one-way too. So they have a one-way industrial road. I don't know if that's an option. We do 6 lanes. That feels a little bit excessive to me. 3 lanes. I think 4 lanes. Oh, it's so small. It's kind of nice. All right, so something like this, I think, to me, makes a ton of sense. And I actually think, and that is the right direction too, because we want traffic to always be exiting on the right, correct? So if we do something like this, we could then kind of have one road coming out to the port. We have return traffic coming in here. We have our bridge traffic coming down through here. But, you know, we might be able to kind of get away with moving this all maybe up here instead. And I think that might make a ton of sense too, especially with this bridge coming in. So I'm going to take a quick break, and I think let's work on our bridge first, because the bridge is really going to affect where I think a lot of this traffic comes through, and then we'll be able to take it from there. So let's, in the interest of kind of ensuring that we keep the decisions that we've made here, I'm just going to throw a quick road down right here and put our cargo hub on there so that we know that is what we have chosen. Where's our cargo hub? Freight terminal. Sorry, freight terminal. I know the words that we're using here. And I think we could have a few of these guys, right? Okay, I'm going to go work on this bridge and see if I can get this working correctly, and then we can kind of hop in. I'll show you how I did it, and see what our thoughts are in terms of where the placement ended up going, right? And we can kind of talk through a few of our options here. Okay, this bridge actually went up a little bit easier than I expected. I don't think that we're going to be done here. So what we're trying to do is really put the initial kind of span of the bridge in place, and you'll see here that here, let me pull up the approaches here. So we have our one-way suspension that we're using here, and you'll notice that if you pull it a certain length, I think it's 37. Yep. So the difference between 37 and 38 in the span is how you get to 2 different poles here, 2 different supports rather, and then over here, if you're pulling it just enough, you can kind of get that support structure to pop in. So that's what we've done here. I'll link the video of the asset maker right here to show you how you can set it up, because he's going to do an infinitely better job than I can. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and kind of bend this or bow this, right, so it goes up properly. Make sure that our support is working well over here, and then we will start working on our second layer so we can connect underneath. Okay, so now we have our second layer under the bridge, and you'll notice if we pull up the road markers, we have our top of the bridge going towards our new island, our expanded island rather, and we have the bottom of the bridge moving away from the island. You can kind of see how those 2 different layers work there. So now the real question becomes, A, how do we get people on the bridge, and B, how do we get them off? So getting on the bridge isn't too hard, right? We can go to our approach section. Actually, never mind, I take that back. There are ways that you have to be a little bit careful about this. So first of all, we know that people coming towards the bridge are going to be taking that road. What we want to do is pull out our one-way approach. I think let's turn anarchy on for this. Let's do this. And we want to actually kind of just connect it over here. So, oh, whoops, we picked the bottom one. That's the opposite of what I was trying to do. This is where this can get a little bit tricky to make sure you're selecting the top or the bottom component. Okay, cool. We do have the bottom here. So we're actually going to pull this. We just lost it. Okay, so we still have the bottom. So we're actually just going to kind of curve this out a little bit, then connect it back in to the bottom there. Then we're going to take our top approach one way, connect it to the top. You notice how it looked like a little bit different there, right? So we're actually going to take this, and I think we want this one as well, maybe. Because, yeah, so this is where it's kind of, there we go. Now kind of separating up from those 2 platforms, right? So one thing we might want to do is see if we can align a few of these nodes here. I think this node can still align a little bit more with this node under here. There we go. Kind of keep these as straight as possible below each other until the very last second, right? Okay. But then we kind of nicely separate out here, and we can probably smooth this transition with node controller too. So let's see what our options are here. We just kind of pull this back, and I mean, hopefully we can get some sort of, let's see, do we want to align these 2 rows? Does this look dumb? Does not look great. Hold on. All right. So holding shift, I'm gonna align this corner and this corner. That does not do anything. What if we try it with this corner and this corner? doesn't really seem to do anything either. So let's double check. All right, so the road direction is obviously not helping here. So let's upgrade that. And I think we could maybe slope this a little bit more gently too. So we grab this, grab this. Let's just do a slightly gentler slope here. That was definitely not what I wanted. Good thing it didn't work. Cool. All right, and then maybe mess around with just this curve just a little bit, because I think we can kind of already start getting this node just a little bit higher. We don't have to worry as much about that intersection there. Switch back to our single grab. Kind of tuck this just a little bit more under. There we go. Cool. So one thing I never use in Unified UI that maybe I should give a shot to now, first of all, get this back over where it belongs. There we go. I think that'll do it. Okay. You stay over there. There we go. Now I think it's locked in place. Awesome. So let's try our interchange marking tool. See if there are any good presets here. There's no presets. Okay. No worries. What about a template? Nope, we got nothing. Okay. So I think we want to basically just show these are going to continue. We want this to be solid. All right, we're just going to keep doing this with the ones that we know. You know what this is? Here's the problem. Transitions to a 4-lane. That's why this isn't going to work. Let's clear that and let's fix this up. All right, so we need to go back to our highway tab, get a 4-lane highway here. Here we go. And then let's put in essentially a nice little transition period here. And then we can go in and fix these. So now we just have to transition these nodes here. Okay, I'm gonna stop messing with this. I'm gonna take a node intersection marking tool class, and I'll get back to you on this one. We're starting to get there a little bit, as you can see, but we're gonna leave this intersection a mess just for the time being, and we'll get back and fix the nodes eventually. And I'm gonna leave these alone too, because we'll figure these out as well. So what we can do at this point is we know that we can get people over the bridge, right? So now let's focus on getting them off the bridge. So I have a few different thoughts here, and we're gonna try a few things and see what's best. So my kind of original thought that we were messing around with earlier was our roundabout, right? There was this idea that we could take potentially a 4-lane road here, or find something. We don't need a turning lane. Medium industry roads both go both ways, but maybe we could take maybe a 3-lane. Do we have a 3-lane anywhere in here? 4-lane one way. All right, we can use this. Make just kind of a big, use this 120. Use free cursor mode here. And we want to pick our 4-lane one way. I think that's just regular 4-lane. Let's see if that works out. We want our radius to be 140. Elevation can just be 0. Okay with that. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, so we have kind of our nice one-way road here. And the thought was that we could basically bring one of these down and connect both of these to our ring, right? We have to bring essentially both of these down at some point. Use kind of our lower deck one way down here, kind of connect up down here. Let's kind of bring it down a little bit more. Connect it in there, and that is hideous. So let's kind of bend this a little bit more. A little bit more bend there. All right. And then we can bring the top over, do the exact same thing. Kind of go this way a little bit. Actually, I think it needs to stay. Yeah. Kind of curve around a little bit more here. And you could curve into here. And again, that's a hideous angle, but just like for the premise, right? This is something that we could do. And actually here, let's show what that would actually look like. Because again, as I said, that's gross. All right, so we're this far over. Let's actually take this same piece, go straight forward. I'm just gonna go down a little bit, right? Let's just go down and see what that looks like. Kind of stretch that out so it's a relatively normal length. Go back there, cool. Do the exact same thing up here. We just have to be a few notes higher. So we'll say, I think 24 will work. Only problem is it's like right on top of it. There we go. Okay, so now, again, knowing that this is going to be going in here, again, curve this around. Whoa, that's not what we wanted. All right. Curve that around there. And we'll actually start from out here, I think. Let's see if we can hook that up. There we go. So something a little bit more like that. Again, it's a little bit wonky, but it's more so just to get the premise of what that would look like, right? You have kind of your two bridge entrances there. I think this on-ramp could be better done, but that's okay. It's more of the premise, right? So the other thing that we could do, and this is more what I was talking about earlier in the episode, is we can actually change both of these to two ways. So if you use this approach two-way right here, you can actually have, oh, that's not good. Oh, that's why. Let's back that up. There we go. I need to use this instead. There we go. Whew, that was close. All right. So now what we're doing is actually allowing for 2 lanes of traffic going either way on each bridge. And what I think that will let us do is create essentially a traffic lane and a, oh, whoops, what are we doing here? This needs to be approach two-way. That needs to be approach two-way. There we go. Okay. Now back to suspension two-way. Actually, no, this needs to be lower deck two-way. So does that. There we go. That was my mistake. Whew, got that sorted out. This is definitely not the way that you should do this. You should probably plan which one of these things you want to do first and then just do that. I'll be honest with you. But I wanted to kind of see what it would look like as a one-way first and what these connections would look like. I don't love them. So what we are going to have to do, which is probably going to be harder, to be totally honest with you, but I think it's going to be worth it, is we are going to have to figure out how we can get these overall 6 lanes. Here, actually, here, let's back this up too. So what we're going to have in terms of our lane mathematics, right, is 3 lanes going either direction into 4 lanes on this bridge. So what we will want to do is have that transition into 4 lanes here, but then break off 2 lanes going on the top and 2 lanes going on the bottom. That is going to be challenging. I have no idea how we're going to do that yet. I'm actually going to back this up too. And then let's delete all of this because I really don't like it. And what that's going to let us do here is actually just bring 1 line down here, our lower deck two-way. And we can actually bring this literally just straight down here. I think like, get it really close, right? There we go. And now we can literally just have a 1-way, 2-way road right here. It goes, oh, I have no idea what just happened there. Literally goes in right there. Literally goes out right there. Super, super, super easy, right? We're gonna have this mirror a little bit better, but that's the general premise, right? So we kind of back this up, stretch this a little bit, stretch that a little bit, and we can put like a nice shrubbery or something right there. We'll probably back this out, obviously. This is more so just proof of concept, right? But then what we can theoretically do, and let me know if you think this is crazy, but we could actually have this entire deck go straight across here. And I think what could be interesting is actually potentially lowering it a little bit, but having this be kind of our one essentially highway-esque, raised highway-esque type approach in this space, bring this all the way across and have it go directly onto the highway, or sorry, directly out to the airport. So I think what we'd actually end up doing is a nice gentle curve here. So we'd probably have it go through here, go over the top of this circle, but then actually kind of bring it around a little bit. So let's have it kind of go up here, get a full 180, but then kind of curve it gently and have it go out to essentially what would be the airport out here. So that's kind of my other thought here. What I like about this is that it does kind of give us this huge bypass, and so we can basically have all cargo trucks go on the bottom here and all non-cargo and passenger go on the top, because the goal would be we have the top just passenger traffic only, and then we do have a cargo route that goes through here that cargo trucks are able to get on. So no cargo truck has to take this bridge over. That's the goal here. What we may want to do is have some way for people using this bridge to get on here as well. this bridge is just kind of coming from this direction. It doesn't do a ton, to be honest with you, but we could potentially put up an intersection with this bridge if we wanted to. Now, the other thing we can do is acknowledge that we don't need to use this same bridge connection piece here. We could basically have this bridge transition into a highway that's running above ground here. That might make this intersection change a little bit easier, and then transition basically to a second bridge over here to connect this bit of land into the airport. So let me know what you think. This was a challenging episode, just kind of playing with all these bridge tools, and I think some of the interchanges for me, definitely things I need to practice a little bit more. But I'm hoping that next episode, I will learn how to use the intersection marking tool a little bit better, and we'll be able to kind of connect our 2-3 lanes, change them into 4 lanes, connect them up to the 8 lanes we have here, and then decommission them, moving back down this way. So that's kind of what I want to accomplish in the next part for this episode. And after we've done that, then we can start working on our train lines. Because I think they need some work. They look like they are totally flooded. I hope that goes away pretty soon. Just let the game run for a second or two and see what happens. This car is about to make the jump, apparently. Nope, they're all just going to disappear at the end of the highway. There's no hope, buddy. I hate to break it to you. Gotta wait until the next episode. Okay, folks, I think that's it for me. Thank you for joining me, and I will catch you next time.